Welcome to The People's View, a program dedicated to discussing local, state, and national issues and their effect on the American people. The People's View provides a platform for state representatives and national figures to present their viewpoint. Whether it's social, economic, or financial topics, you'll hear it on The People's View.
Hello and welcome to The People's View. This program is sponsored by the Nashua Republican City Committee, and if you go to their website at nashuagop.org, you will see the programs that we sponsor. We meet every second Thursday of the month at the Crown Plaza, and the other events will be on the website, and also a copy of these shows. Today we're talking to Don Lebrun, who's a candidate for re-election in Ward 5. Don, welcome to People's View.
Representative Seidel, thank you for having me. It's my pleasure.
So, you enjoyed your first term, and now you're going back for more punishment.
I enjoyed it tremendously. I think I did the job that the people of Nashua sent me to Concord to do.
Well, I know you're certainly very active up there.
I'm very active.
Tell the people what you were doing.
I'm very active. My primary belief is that in order to be a good representative, the first thing you have to do is commit yourself to being present for all sessions, present for all your committees, and also volunteering for additional work.
You did.
That's the only way you will do the work of the people.
Yeah.
I did volunteer. I was on 7 or 8 different committees. I don't remember exactly how many. My primary committee is Health and Human Services.
Which is the biggest group up there.
The biggest committee, and the biggest part of the budget goes to Health and Human Services. I enjoyed it tremendously. I worked with great people on both sides of the aisle, which is another plus that I think that I have, is my ability to work with people on both sides of the aisle. And we came up with some good legislation, and I was actually fortunate enough to get 2 of my bills passed into law.
Oh, very good.
In my first term.
What were they?
Which is, one was the, gives the ability to pharmacies to give Zostervax and pneumococcal shots, as well as the influenza shot.
Nice.
Before they were only allowed to give influenza. Now they can give both. And what that does is give the consumer the opportunity to avail themselves to getting these things at their convenience. They don't have to have a doctor's appointment. They don't have to wait for a doctor to get a shipment in of the Zostervax, for instance, which has to be frozen at all times. The pharmacies have it right there.
That's the one for shingles?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
You can go in within 30 minutes, you fill out the paperwork, everything that you would do at a doctor's office, and you go out and you've had your shot. You can do it in some of the pharmacies 24 hours a day.
Well, I know. The first time I went around for that, I couldn't find a pharmacy that wanted to do it.
Well, they probably weren't allowed to do it at the time.
Yeah.
And most doctors do not stock it because it has to be frozen, and it has a shelf life. So therefore, they won't stock it. They have to have it shipped in and then call you and tell you when it comes, because you only have like an 8-hour period to come in and get it.
And once it's thawed, it's only good for 8 hours. Yes.
Right. So with the pharmacies, they have it on hand at all times. And all you have to do is just stop in and fill out the paperwork the same as you would with a doctor.
Very good.
And you've got your shot.
What was the other one that you
The other one was a bill on transparency with costs of hospitals and doctors.
Yeah.
Whereas you can call and have the doctor tell you ahead of time what he's going to charge you for something. Of course, there are complications that may arise from that he doesn't realize at the time, but you can get a general idea of what the cost is going to be,
price
and you can shop around.
Sure.
So there again, it's a consumer-based
Very good.
bill.
Well, I think that's the only way you're really going to drive some of those costs down, is by having comparisons like that.
Competitiveness.
Right. I know my son, who happens to be self-employed, has an insurance policy with a high deductible, so he has to shop around so that he can do it. And the variation in charges at hospitals for something like a CT or an MRI is almost double.
Yeah, it can be anything they want to charge.
Yeah.
And if you don't know ahead of time or you're unsuspecting, until you get the bill, you don't know what they've charged you.
Yeah, yeah.
This way you will know before you go in.
Well, Don, are you going to continue with the Health and Human Services, or do you have? I know you have a lot of interests up there.
Yeah, I hope to continue with Health and Human Services.
Okay.
But I do have other interests. I have the Veterans Affairs
Right.
Committee that I'm interested in everything they do. I am a veteran, and I'm very interested in what happens with our VA hospitals and different interests that veterans have. Also, I'm into things like homeowners associations. That's an interest of mine. I want to see some regulations put on homeowners associations to make them more amenable to the residents. Instead of having a board that's telling the residents everything they can and can't do, I want two-way communication so that the residents have as much say in what's going on. Even though they have a board, I want the residents to have just as much say in what goes on as the board does.
Good. I know you were in something about the condo fees being paid too.
Yeah, that's part of it. And what that amounts to is, for instance, if a condo is foreclosed on and there are delinquent fees due, the bank doesn't have to see that the condo association gets those delinquent fees. So what we're trying to do is to see that in a foreclosure like that, that the condo fees are the first thing of interest, not the last thing.
Well, I know you are active in a whole bunch of things, and even before you got elected, we know each other from the softball.
Yeah, we play senior softball,
which is good to keep us from breaking our bones, I guess. But you have a varied background too in a number of different organizations you worked for before.
I have a background with the Elks, with an organization named the HEPA, which is American Hellenic Educational Association. And we have erected 92 housing projects for the elderly, low income around the country.
Very good.
And our most recent is right here in Nashua, right here on West Hollis Street.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh.
At 681 West Hollis Street.
Oh, very good. I know you also had some time with the Red Cross. So
I worked, or I should say I volunteered for 51 years with the Red Cross in various states. I put in 7 years here in New Hampshire before I left the Red Cross in 2010, I believe it was. And it was totally volunteer. I never took a penny for my services. I was offered permanent positions many, many times, but I felt that my position was as a volunteer.
Very good. That's interesting perspective. Not too many people do that.
Well, you know, I was assistant coordinator to the disaster services, and that was the thing that interested me most. That was things like the floods, the hurricanes, things like that, coordinating the efforts, setting up shelters, things like that, and that's where I was most comfortable, and I didn't want any money for it.
I know you were very helpful. I remember where I lived, there were some people that had problems with floods and everything, and you gave me a list of contacts with them that they were able to get some reimbursement from the federal assistance.
Right.
So we appreciate it from that standpoint. So what do you think is the biggest objective that you have for a coming session?
You know, my primary, let's go into what my primary interests are, or my primary goals as far as being a representative. In order to be a good representative, the first thing you have to do is to assure your constituents that you will be in attendance. An absentee representative is not a representative at all. So you have to make sure that you are going to make every effort to be at every single session. You're going to be at every single committee meeting. You're going to work with your committee. You're going to do whatever outside work is necessary in order to better understand the bill that you're debating. And you have to do your homework. That alone is a lot of commitment.
Oh, yeah.
But if you are not willing to make that commitment, you will not be an effective representative. In the past 2 years, I had a 100% session attendance rate. I had a 96% voting record. The 4% that I missed is when, as you know, sometimes you're called out of session to go to a special committee meeting or something to hash out the final terms of a bill. That's the 4% that I missed. They were never critical votes. Every other vote, I was there. I took on all the work of my committees. I volunteered for any additional committee that they needed to volunteer for. And I think there was either 5 or 6 additional committees that I volunteered for, including one to study background checks on youth camps. A lot of people thought that was somewhat of a trivial committee. No. I didn't think it was very trivial at all.
Very important.
It's very important. And, you know, my point is, if you're not willing to commit yourself to full time, then I'm not sure you should be running. You know, you may be the smartest individual in the world, but if you're not there, you're ineffective.
Well, that's true.
So that's my basic premise.
Do you have any bills that you're going to be sponsoring?
I have some bills. I have not filed them yet.
Okay.
But I do have some things in mind, and I have some bills that I'm going to co-sponsor with other representatives.
I think that's one of the good things about up there, too, is that you can go around to some of these other people that have interest and sign on supporting that effort.
Right.
And the more people you have, the easier it is to get through the committee hearings.
Absolutely.
You need that support in the committee meetings, and I know you've been very active along that line.
Yes. The last session I had 19 bills that I was either sponsor or co-sponsor on. You know, 2 out of 19 doesn't sound like a lot, but from what I understand, to get 2 bills passed in your very first session is something that's unheard of.
That's right.
And I feel that it takes a lot of work to do that. And I'm willing to do the work. I'm willing to do the work. I will work for the people who send me to Concord. I will work for them until they get tired.
Well, how's the campaign? Excuse me. How is the campaign going?
Campaign's going great.
Okay.
I can say that the people of Nashua, if they haven't seen me, then they haven't left home, because I'm on a different corner every day, and I'm out there asking them to give me another shot, to give me 2 more years, to let me continue the work that I've started, and to work for them.
So if they wanted to contact you, how would the best way to contact you? To ask you questions or give you advice or whatever? Or give you donations? Yeah, I mean, that's the one thing with this big salary we get.
We can always with our $100 a year.
Right.
And that's taxes come out of that and a few other things, including license plates.
Right.
No, my information is totally public. My home address, they can knock on my door. They have my telephone number. All my literature has all this information on it. They have my email address. They can send a carrier pigeon if they want.
Okay.
But I am totally open to my public.
All right. And that information will be shown up on the end of the interview.
Yes.
So that people can get that information to contact you. Yes. You think that the election is going to be as rewarding as it was last time, or are we going to have a little tougher election?
I think we'll have a little tougher election. I think we should have a little tougher election. I think people should scrutinize their representatives and pick the one that they think is going to do the best job for them. And truthfully, I think I'll do the best job for the people of Nashua.
Well, I know you will, and as some people say, promises made and promises kept up there. We did a good job at doing that, keep the balanced budget, and things like that have to continue to have a good operation. And
we, we repealed something like 83 different fees and whatnot. I mean, even look at the automobile registration fee. That was
$60-some or something.
Well, it was between $35 and $75, And that money was directly into the consumer's pocket. That's money they didn't have to take out of their pocket and pay at all.
Yeah.
And I don't know how many millions of dollars that added up to, but it had to be an astronomical number.
Well, those are the things that they had to do the second half of the 2 years before to balance the budget.
Yes, yes.
We didn't have to do any of that.
We didn't have to do any of that because we balanced the budget.
And we figured out just exactly, almost exactly, I mean, to $1 million plus or minus in our estimate. So that's a pretty good job of by that committee, that our Ways and Means Committee that supplied the funding. And that's one of the things we looked at. And then we're going to continue to look at how much money's coming in, and all right, this is how we divide it up.
That's how much we have to spend.
Yeah, that's it.
right.
Right.
It's just like your household budget. You can only spend what you have to spend.
That's right.
You can't, if you spend any more than that, you're in debt.
Okay.
And we don't want the state in debt.
No, no, you don't. Well, you can't. You can only go so far with that, you know. And what you want to do, I think most of everybody that I've been talking to wants to do is to broaden the tax base. So you're not increasing any rates, but you're getting more people who are prospering enough to pay taxes.
Right.
And then you can get more services. And I think we're looking at that.
And that comes through some of the things that we did for small businesses.
Yeah.
The rooms and meals tax that we lessened, the BET, BPT taxes.
Yeah.
You know, they're all job creators. And that's what we need more than anything right now.
And I think
And we need our education system.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
We need our education system to keep our young people here in the state. Right now, a lot of our young people are graduating and they're fleeing the state to greener pastures. We have to make the green pastures here.
I agree, and I think we have to make sure that that gets funded properly, and the control remains mostly in the hands of the local people.
Right.
Well, Don,
agree.
do you have anything else you want to tell the audience before we wrap up this?
I just want to assure the audience that if they will re-elect me, send me back to Concord, they can expect more of the same that I've given them these 2 years. I have the vitality. I have the will to do the best job possible, not only for the people of Nashua, but I consider the entire population of New Hampshire as my constituents. So, you know, I answer my emails from all over the state. I get emails from out on the coast or up north. I answer all my emails.
That's a pretty good
I may
record.
not be totally helpful all the time,
Yeah.
but I make every effort to be totally helpful, even if it means putting them in touch with someone who I feel can do a better job than I can at it.
You know, more knowledgeable.
But the effort is there to help the people.
Well, that's incredible, because
And that's what I'm
I
all
know
about.
how many emails we all get up there.
I
We
get
a lot of
120 to 150 emails a day,
Yeah.
and I make every attempt to answer every one of them. I answer phone calls. I get
Do you sleep?
well, that's always been a problem with me, is I've never slept very well, so I do have a lot of time throughout the night.
I was wondering, because I know if I had to answer all my emails, I'd be up at the night. I do answer them, the ones that are from Nashua, though. So, but it is.
It's difficult, but I make every effort to do it because the people deserve that.
Okay, very good, Don. Thank you very much for coming down and talking to the people. And I hope that if the audience has any questions, they'll contact you. And you're in Ward 5, and good luck in the
Ward
re-election.
5, and I encourage them to contact me at any time.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Representative
Thank you.
Seidel.